Hello and welcome to the 15th episode of the 34 Sports Podcast. I know it's been a minute, but after the way the draft live stream went, I didn't really want to do too much for a little bit. So I got my head around and we're back. I'm going to try to keep the uploads going, not just here on the audio platforms. I'm going to keep starting to get the YouTube rolling with some daily uploads. I'll see how long I'll last. But nevertheless, let's get into it. My half a meatball of the week this week is, I think, one of the worst ones I've seen in a while. The Utah Jazz decided to pay Rudy Gobert 5 years, $208 million for a guy who is layups and defense. I'm more of a defensive guy myself, but there's no way I could say if I was a GM that I want to pay Rudy Gobert over 150 million. Maybe 175 for Gobert, but that'd be about as high as I'd go. That's a little bit much. What do you think?
I do think that, for a guy that's literally, like you just said, rebounds and layups, I don't know why you're putting over 200,000 into a guy who can literally do nothing but those two things. In my opinion, it's honest waste of money for that organization.
He's not even the number one option on that team. I don't even think Mitchell gets that much. I know Mitchell doesn't get that much money.
Yeah, me, it's
well, he'll get it next time probably. Gobert was up for the big deal. I would have. I don't know. They aren't gonna be able to move him with a contract like that either. Not very easily, especially Gobert. I mean, Westbrook and guys like that are different because they can be a first option. But Gobert's your Robin guy, and you're paying him like that.
The only way that I could see him being worth even remotely what he just got paid, and I'm not sure if you agree, is if he works to develop somewhat of a shot. That's the only way I think he's worth it all.
I think he's got Drummond syndrome. He wants the ball too much. I don't think he'll ever have a shot. So, I don't.
But if he somehow does, he probably won't. You're probably right. But if he does, it's the only way he's remotely worth what he just got paid.
Yeah, and that's a pipe dream because I don't see that happening.
So it's easy. So end of story. He's not worth what he got paid, in my opinion.
No, I didn't even think he was worth his last contract. That was fairly high. I think he got 5 years, 100. Now that was before the cap went up, but I don't think that highly of Gobert. I think he's just a level above Drummond. I think he brings the same thing that Drummond brought. Now, I say that because I think Drummond is a rebound guy, whereas Gobert's a defensive guy, the blocks guy. Drummond's a rebounder, Gobert's a blocks guy. And I just don't really see how any of the guys that are just one-dimensional like that get these large contracts. Now, the other guys that have the biggest deals, Giannis just got his. Giannis can do it on both ends. Who's the other one? I think who is it? Westbrook, maybe? Westbrook's up there. Guys like Harden, Davis. I don't think LeBron's up there, but he's made enough money off of Nike. He's not that worried about it. Although he is a top guy in the league, but I still don't. This is the first time I can really say myself that that athletes are getting paid too much, because Gobert is nowhere near in that level. I usually kind of just let it pass because they have skill, but Gobert is not. He's not even the best French player to ever play. Tony Parker is the best French player to ever play, and he's getting this deal. This is gonna just be like a domino effect, and you're gonna see guys that are a little bit above mediocre, possible all-stars, get these massive deals that they do not deserve. Not that I'm not against the guy for getting the money. He got the money, good for him, but I really don't think the team. They're kind of, I guess, they're shooting themselves in the foot, but they're also stuck between a rock and a hard place because they don't really have a center. Although I do think the rookie Azubuike could do about what Gobert's doing in a couple years. So this is kind of stupid, in my opinion.
Okay, Azubuike, yes. But do you think the Jazz had a choice? Who else do they have on that team?
I would have rolled with Azubuike as to pay Gobert this much money.
Yeah.
I would have rather. You're already shooting yourself in the foot one way. You might as well just let the dice roll and see what you can get out of Gobert somewhere else on the previous contract. Now he's not movable. Too much. They got too much in him now for him to move. But like I said, Westbrook had that big deal, but Westbrook can do a lot of things. Gobert's only like one or two dimensional. It's just
I
not.
would say too, just because he's got
Well,
defense and finish inside, but even then, the finishing isn't the best.
no, the finishing's not that. He's okay. I mean, most of the shots he gets is just off of, and it's not shots, it's layups, but it's off of Donovan Mitchell just finding him in good spots, or anybody on the team finding him in good spots.
After Spida drops 30 and has to hand it off.
If they didn't have Donovan Mitchell after Hayward left, this team would be nowhere near where it is now, and we'll talk about that in a minute. Where I have them placed in conference, but
Yeah.
I this team does not need to. They didn't. Well, they did it, but they did not need to do this. Puts them back, in my opinion. This holds them back because you can't afford. It's a good thing they signed Clarkson because you giving guys like Gobert money, you're not gonna have a lot of money for the pieces to get you to the next level.
I would agree.
All right, let's move on. That's enough of that. Next thing we're gonna talk about is James Harden. Will he get moved? I was thinking maybe today, yes, but the more I've seen come out, especially now that Miami's pulled off the table, I think it's highly unlikely. What do you think?
I've heard multiple sources say that he's looking at teams like the 76ers, but that's probably not going to happen.
Well, they want too much.
The Rockets wanted Ben Simmons, yeah.
And now Thibault and 3 picks, which is...
Well, Thibault is not that big of a deal, but they ain't...
Yeah, but on top of Simmons?
That's too much, but I've also heard the Raptors are trying, and the Heat were. So I've heard the Raptors are trying for Ben or Harden. I don't think either one's going to happen. I hope. But you never know.
Philly's got to see how Ben does this season. They moved all those pieces to get the shooters to surround him, and for them to throw it away right now when they're just trying to see how it is not very smart. I think they need to hold Ben for at least one more year, and he's not going to lose value because people want him unless in some unforeseen reason he got a big injury, which I hope doesn't happen, and I don't see happening. But Simmons is going to hold his value. You just kind of got to see how the cards are this season. Morey went in there and really flipped the whole team upside down. He got Horford out of there, which was the big reason I think they were not doing as well because they paid Horford so much. They may have gotten Butler to stay if they hadn't paid Horford as much because they would have been able to give Jimmy some more money, but that's neither here nor there. And they've got Curry now. They've got Danny Green. They've got some other shooters that I can't remember right now, but they're in a good position. And again, I'll talk about that in a minute where I see them in the conference, but I think they're edging their way towards the upper.
Yeah, I have my spot for them, but I'll say that in a minute.
Well, let's get into that. I don't think James Harden's getting moved. That's the end of that, but he might. But the more I see come out, it's just not going to happen, in my opinion. Okay, let's start with the East. You want me to do mine first, or you want to do yours?
It's up to you. Are you really set on your stuff?
Yeah, I got it listed on both conferences.
So if you have a list, go first.
I'm gonna go 15. I'm gonna list from 15 to 1 in each conference.
Okay.
I got my worst team, and probably I think both conferences is the Knicks. I got Knicks at 15, Cleveland at 14, Detroit at 13. Kind of wish they were at 14, but I feel like they're going to play just well enough to be there about the 5th pick come draft time. Charlotte at 12, Chicago at 11, Orlando dropping down to 10. I got Atlanta at 9, just barely out of it, even though I'd like to see them in there. I got Washington just barely slipping in at 8, Indiana at 7, Toronto at 6, Miami at 5. Philly at 4, Celtics at 3, Nets at 2, and Milwaukee at 1.
You got the Nets at 2. Okay.
I think they're going to win a lot of games. D'Antoni's kind of offense always wins in the regular season, and then you got to remember you got Durant there anyway, so that's how I feel about that.
Okay.
What do you got? You can do just 8 if you want to. I was just thinking.
I'll go 8 because, don't the first 8 matter?
Yeah. The
most?
Yeah.
Okay. 8 Okay, so we're going East first. 8, yeah. I'm going to give it to the Bulls.
The Bulls, okay.
Yeah, yeah. I'm going underdog.
You think what you want. I just think they're a little too inconsistent, but
We
keep
got
going.
seven in the East.
You want to start from 1 and go down? That way you got less to...
Maybe, yeah. 1, Bucks. 2, holy I'm going to go Celtics. I'm going to go big.
I thought they could be there. I just was thinking differently.
3, Raptors. 4, Nets. 5, that's fun. 5, I'm going to say...
So they got Philly, Miami, Indiana, Washington.
Yeah. 5 is Miami. 6 is Philly. 7 is... Who's left?
You got Indiana, Washington, Atlanta, Orlando, Chicago. You already listed at 8, I think. So you're kind of just
Orlando. No. Damn, it's hard to say before the season even starts. The Pacers at what am I 9?
7.
7.
And then you had Chicago at 8.
Flip that. The Magic at 8.
You think Magic 8? I think the Magic, unless Cole Anthony is really an X factor, I don't think the Magic are making the playoffs this year. I think with Russell Westbrook pairing up with Beal, I think they're guaranteed at least bottom tier playoff spot in the East because the East is garbage anyway. I think Atlanta will be like a game off of them. I think it'll be a fight. I think it'll be like Phoenix was back in the day with Bledsoe.
8, but I could also see the Magic being 8 over the Bulls for obvious reasons.
Yeah, it depends on how Vucevic plays. If he goes back to when he was playing for a contract, I could see that more. But if he plays like he did last season, I don't see him being an X factor to put them over. He did have a fairly decent season, but it's just not enough. Aaron Gordon's got to be consistent. Folks could take another leap, so that's an option. But
I might go to 15 deep, so the Knicks are last.
All right.
I think the Bulls are second last.
You think the Bulls are second last?
Yes.
I thought you had the Bulls at 8.
No,
you flipped it. Oh, you got them down then. No.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
I got the Cavs ahead of them by a spot, and then I got the Pistons.
Why you got Detroit so high? I want them to suck. I need that pick.
Well, I mean, every time they try to tank, they win more than they should. So I'm gonna say,
yeah.
Plus, they have a decent team. They really do now.
It's decent. Kelly. I mean, I don't know about Plumlee at the center, but we'll see how that works out.
I don't know about He's the center for us, so I guess we'll see both of
them. Yeah. That's kind of why I had you guys down to 6 in Toronto. That was my big thing, putting you down a little bit, was just because of the center.
Probably like 10.
I put them at 8. I think Russ is gonna have a good season because last year he's gonna want to prove himself. Is why I have them there. And he's gonna have Beal to dish it to. He's gonna have this Denny guy off the bench or starting, depending who can shoot. You have a bunch of shooters. Beal who can shoot. This Denny guy. You got Bertans who shot like 45 last season, and then you got Thomas Bryant down low, decent rim protector. But we'll see. We haven't seen a lot of Wizards, so you could be right.
Where do you have the Hornets? I don't know.
The Hornets are 12. I don't see them, especially with Hayward coming right off the bat with a fractured finger. I don't see them.
They looked decent in the preseason, though.
Yeah, but they played the Magic, and the Magic are good. They're borderline playoffs. They're right there at the 8.
Well, people are worrying about the Hornets. Are going to be worrying about LaMelo. He's played good. So, I mean, that's the bright side for them.
He had a bad night, the one I watched. He didn't make one shot. He made a layup and a free throw.
I watched the one against the Raptors, and then I watched the one against the Magic where he had a
We'll talk about that later, but I think that could have possible implications for Rookie of the Year if he plays like that. But I think the reason why I've got Charlotte so low is just what I saw Cole Anthony was able to do to them. And I think if Cole Anthony can do it, they're going to have issues with other guys doing it too. I don't see the defensive side of the ball there quite yet. They might have to bring Rozier up for some matchups. Maybe I don't know where Ball's going to fit in there, whether he's going to be a 6-man or even 8th spot in the rotation. I think he's going to get minutes, but I don't see him starting quite yet from what I've seen. Maybe by the end of the season. Okay.
West time. Let's see what we got.
Yeah, West time. I'll start at 15 again.
Yeah.
At 15, I got OKC. I think
Ooh.
that's how it's gonna be. I think Shea will have a good year, but I don't think it'll be. That's that thing. See, they've got me thrown because they do have a decent, good talent there, especially pulling Horford down there. Because you
That's
got,
what I was saying. I thought he
I,
was gonna.
but the West is so deep. It's gonna be hard for them to get it going. As I'll show you, and you might be surprised by some of my movement here in the West. But I'll keep going. And I'll talk more later. But OKC at 15, Sacramento at 14, Minnesota moving up one spot because of Edwards at 13. San Antonio at 12, really no change. Memphis at 11, New Orleans at 10, Utah at 9, Phoenix at 8, Houston at 7, Portland at 6, Denver at 5, Golden State at 4, Dallas at 3, Clippers at 2, and Lakers at 1.
Hmm.
It was hard to do the 8th seed. I actually changed it once or twice because there's so many teams that are just barely there but aren't quite there.
Yeah, I think. Let me. For me personally, I'd put the Pels at 8.
Okay.
I think they have a chance. I'm gonna go from 15 the same way as you. I'm saying the Kings in last for me.
Okay, I was close to that, but
I say OKC in 14, 13 Mini, 12. Probably the Spurs.
yeah.
11. I'm gonna say the Suns. I think they're good, but they're not like top 10 yet.
Okay.
10. I'm gonna give it to. Have I said Memphis? No, Memphis. 9. I'm gonna give it to Portland. 8. I'm gonna give it to the Pels. 7. I'm gonna say Utah.
Okay.
6. I'm gonna say Denver. 5th. I'm gonna say the Warriors. 4th. I'm gonna go with. Damn.
You still got a Houston out there. I don't know if you misstepped on that one or if you actually fielded that high.
Wait, no. 5th Houston, 4th Warriors, 3rd. Oh my god.
Yeah, Dallas, Clippers, and Lakers.
Oh yeah, it's the exact order you just said. I think that actually Dallas in 2nd.
Well, it depends on.
Clippers in 3rd, and Warriors in the 1st spot. I mean, Lakers in the 1st spot.
Yeah. I think Dallas depends on how healthy Porzingis can get and how fast. I think Luka's still going to get you wins because even without Porzingis in the playoffs, he still took them to 7. So
that's why I think they're number 2 in the West.
I think Denver's
I had a hard time saying the Warriors were going to be the 4th, but only because I think without more than I guess they have they have Kelly,
Oubre, Wiggins.
Yeah. And I know they have Steph's a big guy for that team. But I don't I really only said 4 because other than them it's hard. But I feel like they're either going to be 4th through 6 is my thing.
It's Kerr's system that'll keep them there. If it was just a normal coach, somebody else,
I'd say
I'm not going to name one. They would be lower if it wasn't for Kerr's system. Kerr knows what he's doing. And you had Phoenix at 10. I think they're going to be higher than that just because I thought OKC was going to suck last season and Chris Paul brought them to the playoffs. So that's why I have them higher. And I think Utah, Conley's going to get older. They haven't really fixed the point guard position. Mitchell's not a point guard. Maybe Clarkson will help, but Utah's kind of right there, but not for me. I think Houston's going to have issues with James Harden for a lot of the season. That's why I had them so low. And if they decide if they have to trade in midseason, I think that's going to hurt their chemistry, and they'll be down a little bit. What else did I say? Memphis not having Jaren Jackson Jr. for the first half of the year is going to tank them because they are too young to be missing big guys like that. They don't have anybody. Clark's fine, but he's undersized, so they don't really have anybody to help at that 4 position with him out. But once they get him back, they're probably going to make a late push, but I don't think it's going to be enough, especially the way that the West is stacked this year.
Yeah, true.
I see the Clippers at 2 because I think Paul George is going to come out like He's just gonna be on another level because he's gonna just have heard the media all year. He's either gonna do that or he's gonna be the same he was. But I think Paul George is going to pick it back up because he's really hurt his reputation and he's gonna want to help fix that. We'll see if that
I
happens or
hope.
not. But yeah, that's pretty much the order. That's way too early. That's just
What do you think about the Pels at 8 though? For me, I think they can do it with Zion and
uh,
Lonzo.
it depends. Um I'm not really sure how they're going to be positionally right now. I think they're pretty well the same team as last year, and which is why I have them in about the same spot as they finished because um I think, like I said, I think the West has gotten stronger, and it's gonna be harder for a team like that to make it in, even if they are fairly good. Like that's a 6 seed in the East. That kind of a team. I mean, even the East has gotten better too, though. I will say that, but still, they would have more of a chance in the East than they do in the West. I
I,
do like
I
Zion a lot, though. I do like watching Zion, but I just don't
and
know.
he had a good preseason. I know it's preseason, but he had a good one.
Well, if Ingram plays at the level he played at, which we did not see in the preseason, but it's preseason. Ingram's got to play that way. Lonzo has been more aggressive to shoot. I like the way Lonzo looks,
Yeah.
but I don't know. We'll see how this shapes up. Let's move on to the our way too early
See,
awards.
that's hard because it seems like, damn, that's hard.
Which one? The awards?
Yeah, because it's like,
I'll go first. I'm gonna go with.
okay.
I'm gonna leave the MVP for last. I'll go with my lesser awards.
I
Coach of the year, I got Steve Nash. I almost wrote down Vogel, but I feel like Nash is gonna be the new, and people like new, so they're gonna vote for him. I feel like he's gonna
Steve.
have a fairly good team, fairly good season with a fairly good team. I like Dinwiddie off the bench for them, and I think under the training of Nash, I think Dinwiddie could take a big step. He'll probably have to leave. I think Dinwiddie will be a starting point guard within the next 3 seasons. Uh, he's already good, and then Nash will help that much more. Sixth man, I got Harrell. I think he's going to be a big piece for the Lakers off the bench. Hopefully for them, he shows up in the playoffs, something he hasn't done before, but who knows? It doesn't. It'll be easier for him on a team with LeBron and Davis. There's less spotlight on him, so he'll be able to slip in there. Defensive player of the year, I got Giannis going back to back. I couldn't really think of anybody who would overtake. Maybe Davis gets in here, but I got Giannis. Most improved, I got Lonzo, just for the fact that Stan Van Gundy and all the guys on the team have told him to shoot more. And if he finally does, I think that's going to take his game to the next level. If he does it consistently. Rookie of the year, I got Wiseman just for consistency. He's going to be, I think, a 15 and 10 a night on Golden State. Just because of the way they move the ball, and he's just going to get rebounds because that's what he does. Maybe a couple blocks, who knows? Probably one block. I'd say one or a half a block, but he'll be good defensively too. I got him over LaMelo because I think LaMelo is going to be inconsistent. I almost put LaMelo, but and my MVP is Luka because I think he already took a big step in the bubble and he's had a couple more months to figure it out. So that's who I got.
Wait, who'd you say for the MVP? My audio cut out.
Luka.
Okay.
Because he was already good in the bubble and he's had more time to figure it out.
My coach of the year, I'm gonna go with I would go with Steve Nash too, honestly. Like what
I
he's
think
got to work with
it's the
first year.
new. It's the new thing. People like new anyway.
I could see Steve Nash being the coach of the year, and then most improved, right?
Six man. Well, you can go
Six
most
man?
improved if you want.
Six man.
Well, if you have most improved, just go to. You can come back.
My most improved was probably gonna. Honest, I've watched a lot of the Pels already this season. I know I might have like cruised you for watching the Pels so much, but like Lonzo shooting more is definitely.
Well, I've been kind of disappointed with the Pels just a hair because I mean it's not disappointment as much as I'm just seeing they're changing it a little bit. Zion hasn't really been going for as much dunks. He's been going for lays, which should get him better in his long run. in the long run, but I do like Zion's dunks. So he'll get some events. He'll be on the highlight reels, just not as much.
So I could see Zoe as being most improved. Then we got sixth man. That's hard. Damn. This is why it's hard to predict like this early.
I think another guy, I don't know, I'm not trying to help you or anything, but I think Hero could be big off the bench for Miami this next year if he
I thought
takes
Hero
another
was a
leap.
starter for that team. No, he's not.
It depends. They switch lineups so much.
Well, okay, if he's off the
Dragic
bench
could be
more
the
than
sixth
starting, Tyler Hero. I'm not just saying that because you said. If he's off the bench, Tyler Hero easily. Easily.
Well, he's got to be consistent because that was a big issue in the finals and the playoffs, but I know what you're saying.
Defensive player of the year, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Defensive player of the year, Greek. It's hard to compete with a guy that has a 7'5" wingspan.
Yeah. I think. Well, I'm just saying. Yeah, I have no idea what his actual wingspan is.
It's 7'5".
It's long. Yeah.
And then rookie MVP.
Well, you can go rookie of the year or MVP. You still haven't done those.
Rookie
yet.
of the year, LaMelo.
Okay.
Just
if
think
he can
he's
find
gonna
the
be-
consistency, he can be there. The only thing I think is going to hurt him is nights when he has 0 points. If he does that crap when it gets going.
Yeah, I mean, I could see that for sure. I totally agree. And then MVP, Greek with the 3-peat.
Okay, I could see that, but I don't know. Luka's coming for it, whether he gets it this season or next season.
Luka's gonna get it in the next two. I just don't think it's this year.
I see
but we'll
Luka
see,
winning
honestly.
3 in his career. I think he's gonna be just dominant at one point. I think he's already edging his way that way. I think he's just gonna be. There's gonna be a point where I think this is what you're gonna see the modern day Larry Bird start to come out. He's gonna be.
I can agree with that.
He's gonna just be another level. I think I mean, Larry Bird was good, and he was held back by not being able to shoot. But I just think Luka's gonna end up being higher all time than Larry Bird by the end, just because of the way the league is now.
Yeah.
But Luka's coming for that MVP. All right, we're gonna switch over to NFL now. I don't know how much you watch, but I've been keeping track for a little bit. I've been watching the games.
I have not been watching the NFL, to be honest.
I've been doing a little bit of sports betting, not too much. I've been playing. They give you free bets on FanDuel. I've been playing those because why put my own money when I can bet with theirs? But I haven't been hitting too hard with those. I won once for $9, but that was about it. But our first topic is: did the Steelers give false hope? Steelers started out 11-0, and then against who did they lose? Oh, they lost to the Washington football team. They lost by 1 touchdown, and they could not even run the ball, and they can't. They haven't all season. They've just been able to out-throw everybody, and they lost again the next week to the Bills because the Bills are just a better all-around team. And now I'm kind of riding the Bills a little bit more than I was the Steelers now, just looking at it. And Bills and Chiefs, who knows? I mean, at this point, it's up in the air. Chiefs have not changed, so it's going to be hard to beat the Chiefs. But the Steelers, I think, were not that good all around. They played really well in the pass game, but if you can't rush the ball, it's not going to do a lot. Big Ben's been back to form. That's good to see.
I mean, 11-2 to me is not false hope.
Well, no, they just played really well. The problem with them is they always play down to their competition. They never cruise anybody. They always just play good enough to win, and that's bit them hard in the last 2 weeks to the point where they've kind of dipped in people's mind. They also they may run maybe 6 or 7 times a game. It's not anything like that's very easy to predict and very easy to.
But to be fair, how many times did the Chiefs run with Mahomes at the QB?
Well, they were running with Carlos Edwards-Helaire quite a bit lately, but he got hurt last week, and now they got Bell. They run enough where you don't know what's happening. They run so they will run it so they don't become predictable. Even though Mahomes could get rushed and just run back 10 yards and drop a dime right to Tyreek or Kelsey, guys
Anybody on
like
that
that.
team.
But they have the Steelers are just way too predictable for anybody to trust them right now. To just say like put money on that they're going to win the Super Bowl at the moment. They've got to they've got to get back to what they were. Their defense is top tier. I mean, it's the return of the Iron Wall. There, but they I don't know about them right now. They've got to get back to what they were doing the first couple weeks. They got to quit kind of playing down, like I said, to their competition and get back to what they were. Well, they weren't. They've always played down to the competition this season. They've got to take it to another level and just be ready to come in every game and just crush the other team.
Yeah.
They play the Bengals today. We're recording on Monday, 6 o'clock. I think tip-off for that game's about 8:25 Eastern. So if they lose to the Bengals, then people should be worried in Pittsburgh.
You mean
Because
the kickoff?
the kicker, yeah.
I was about to say, what's a tip off in football?
Yeah. But
Basketball.
if they lose to the Bengals this week, people in Pittsburgh got to be worried because they don't even have Burrow down in there.
If they lose to the Bengals, they should just not be a football team. They're not losing.
Well, they got to get it together. This is a real show of whether they've got it or not. Well, not really, but not whether they've got it or not, but whether they are serious contenders or not. Because if they lose to the Bengals, they're a joke. You start off high. It's like the Bears starting off 5-0 and then going down, losing like 5 in a row. It just doesn't look good. Okay.
For me, I just losing to the trash Bengals.
No, especially without Burrow. I mean, with Burrow there, you can say, "Oh yeah, Burrow had a good game," but I mean, with nothing there, it's not gonna happen. It's probably not gonna happen whether the Bengals put up a fight or not.
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna move on to the MVP. It's been a while. I looked at, I think it's CBS Sport or somebody's rankings right now, and they've got Mahomes at 1, Rodgers at 2.
Yes, sir.
What is his name? Allen in Buffalo. That hurts me. Josh Allen in Buffalo. Russell Wilson at 4 and Henry at 5. Derrick Henry, who's been popping off too. Henry's done pretty good. Mahomes has got the best record here at 13-1. The Chiefs, I mean, he does so well with the Chiefs. Just the system, the players, they're just so good. It's hard for Mahomes not to play well, especially with his arm and just the line that they've got for him there. But for me, I don't have Mahomes at 1, even though they do. I mean, Mahomes gets a lot of help. But what Aaron Rodgers has done this year with that Packers team, with just having Devontae Adams basically to throw to consistently, the rest of the receivers aren't Pro Bowlers by any means. But what Rodgers has been able to do, now 11-3 with that team, I think he either hit it or was about to hit 40 touchdowns on the season. That's really, really good. And he hasn't done that since last time he won the MVP in 2011. So I think Rodgers is my MVP at this point. Now, this game that he plays versus Derrick Henry and the Titans, that will decide whether he gets the MVP or not. Because not just for me, but for anybody who votes for MVP is going to be watching this hard to see what he does. And if Rodgers falters and Henry plays well, Henry may move up this list a few spots. But if Henry moves up and Rodgers moves down, there's no way anybody but Mahomes is getting the MVP this year. But I think Rodgers is really the only one running at Mahomes for MVP at this point. Josh Allen looks good in Buffalo, but he's not the same as Rodgers. Rodgers, this is probably, maybe Rodgers got a couple more years like this, but this is really probably his last MVP run because they should get him some more help next year. But they've already decided that they want a new quarterback, so we'll see how long Rodgers lasts. But I think he's got a good chance at the MVP.
I think he's pissed off. That's why he's playing so good.
Well, I would be too. He wasn't even doing that bad, and he lacks good receivers. And they had a top tier pick. They could have picked up a decent wide receiver for him, but they didn't. And now he's showing them what he can do, whether he has good talent or not. I mean, Devontae Adams is good talent, but other than that, he's struggling. My last, well, it's not my last, but my last part of NFL news, um, well, an NFL topic is have we seen the last of Carson Wentz in Philly? Carson Wentz is on a 4-year, $128 million deal, $32 million a year, but when Wentz is playing, the coach Doug Peterson is 35, 32 and 1, and without Wentz, the coach is 11 and 3. Now he's had Jalen Hurts for 2 games. He's 1-1 with Jalen Hurts. But the Eagles, I think, have won 3 or 4 games all season. I think they're at 4. And the way that conference is, that division is, just with the Cowboys and the Washington football team and the Giants, all of them suck. Not one of those teams in that division does not suck. They all are below 500. The only one that shows any sign of being halfway decent is the Washington football team with Ron Rivera at the head, but they've still got, I think they're like 42% on the record, only won 40% of their games. And their defense is the only thing holding them together because the offense is okay with Alex Smith and Terry McLaurin, but they're not that good. Um, that whole division is a waste of a playoff spot, in my opinion. They need to let somebody else have that playoff spot if they can't hit 500. Now, if the football team hits 500, I'll give it to them. But if you can't hit 500 and you still make the playoffs, NBA, MLB, whatever it is, you shouldn't be there. You have to hit. You have to at least win half your games, in my opinion. Wentz today came out and said he doesn't want to play in Philly unless he's a starting QB, and I think he's smoking the good leaf if he thinks he's a starting QB anymore with the way he's played. Um, he just plays. He just gets sacked all the time, which is part of Philly's fault. But he doesn't have good pocket awareness all the time. He doesn't look like he looks like a mediocre starting QB. He may not fit in Philly's system. He may go somewhere else. But the problem is he's getting paid 32 mil a year. So anybody who trades for him is taking a gamble, and it's not the NBA. 32 million is not just even some old players get 32 in the NBA. For somebody to get 32 in the NFL, you gotta prove yourself that you're worth that. And Wentz has yet to do it because Foles won on the championship. Wentz didn't. They should have stuck with Foles. Uh,
Yeah.
what's his name? Jalen Hurts has looked decent. He won against the Saints by a touchdown, although that wasn't against Breeze. It was against Taysom Hill, who's also trying to show himself. He kind of actually reminds me of Wentz a little bit, but I'd rather have Taysom Hill than Carson Wentz at this point, and the contracts are very different. Uh, I don't think. I think Wentz is going to have to sit the bench next year at least. I don't really see anybody moving for him with that kind of a contract. You'd have to be crazy too. Uh, so yeah, I don't know if we'll see Carson Wentz ever play starter again in the league because he'll probably have to rot in Philly until his contract's over. Okay, now it's on to a Detroit moment. Uh, I think I'm going to talk more about the Pistons this week because the Lions just all around suck. I haven't caught a Lion. I was watching them until about 3 weeks ago, I think, when they lost. I don't know who they lost to, but they lost because they're the Lions. But at least they fired Patricia. I don't know if I've talked about that on a podcast. I think that happened in my time off. But the Lions suck. That just is what it is. Now let's talk about a happier subject to an extent with the Pistons. I am probably the most happiest I've been with the team in I don't probably as long as I can remember because when I started really paying attention, I was young, mind you, that I didn't really pay attention back when they were rolling in '04. I was too young to even care at that point. But the first thing I really remember as a Pistons fan was when they traded Chauncey away for Allen Iverson and really just brought us into this new era of just suck. Constant suck. Nothing. Minor playoff runs, not even runs, just appearances with a sweep. I don't think we haven't won a playoff game in my lifetime. I don't think. No, not one. That I've watched. Now, mind you, this is like '08 to now, which hasn't been good at all. Um, but this is the first year I've seen them draft well where I felt like coming into the draft that I knew every player that they drafted was going to be decent. Like before they've drafted like Ellison, who the hell is that? I don't know who that is. And you guys probably still don't know who it is because he hasn't done anything. That was great by the scouts, by the way. Thank you for Ellison. They've also drafted Jarabko, who, if you watch the 2019 finals, Jarabko airballed more threes than, I don't know. He airballed a lot of threes. I don't know who he airballed more than, but uh, we drafted Austin Day, who knows about that? He rotted in his last few years in the Memphis G League. But we drafted good this year. We drafted Hayes, we drafted Sadiq Bey, and we drafted Isaiah Stewart. Now, I still like Stewart, even though he was, what did we get him at, 20 or something? Maybe we got him at 18. But I don't mind him. He kind of gives off slight vibes of Big Ben, but not anywhere near Big Ben. If he turns into another good defensive player like Big Ben, good for the scouting department. But I think it'd be a good backup for us if he stays. We did lose Wood, but Wood needs to go somewhere and spread his wings because we're not in that time span to see Wood become a star player. We don't need that right now. We need picks because we suck. Seku's taking another step. I like that. Dumboya. Him and Killian Hayes, both from France, both played together. I like that. And Hayes and Sadiq Bey have both had 10 in the preseason, so I'm excited to see what they do this year. Probably the first time I've really been excited going into the season with the youth in a while. Got rid of Kennard, but I thought we had seen the best of Kennard, what he's going to be anyway. He got an extension today for some unknown reason. He got 4 years, $60 million because the Clippers just like to throw money at people for no reason.
Watch him end up being really good.
I know he's good, but he wasn't going to do a lot for Detroit. He just would kind of sit there. He's a good shooter, a little bit injury prone at this point of his career. But if he can put it together, he's going to be a J.J. Redick type player. But then again, just like I said with Wood, he was a little bit ahead of our schedule with the young guys we have. Guys like Sekou and Bey, and even now I've seen Josh Jackson come out of left field and get like 14 points a game in the preseason. So who knows? And we've got Svi Mykhailiuk and guys like that that'll take up those minutes that Kennard was holding. And we knew what Kennard was, and he wasn't going to help us get over the hump. So it's time to move on. But yeah, Detroit, if Blake is healthy, might screw up our tank a little bit with how well we play. I mean, we're not going to be a playoff team, but I think we'll surprise a few teams with a win on some nights, as we always do, as we've done the whole time I've watched them in the last few years. The whole time I've watched them when I've watched them, because I've never seen them be any form of good. So we'll have to see how they turn out. I'll watch Detroit every time I'm on the podcast. We'll have this little thing at the end, and you'll get to see how Detroit's doing. This has been the 15th episode of the 34 Sports Podcast. I'm hoping to get back into a schedule, and I hope to see you guys next week. If you're on YouTube, like, comment, subscribe, and if you're on the podcast platform, thank you for watching. And if you want to, come over to the YouTube. I'm going to start putting more out in the YouTube. Probably shoot it'll be like one edited video a week. And then you have the podcast, and you'll probably have 3 kind of, since I can't live stream, just kind of just spewing stuff at the wall with my face, a little bit of webcam. So yeah, feel free to come check that out. Thank you for watching.